How is it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So today, the Prehistoric Planet Ice Age trailer has finally released. This is not going to be a reaction video. Instead, we're going to go through the video and just kind of like talk about some of the most notable moments. I already watched the video, so my reaction is already done basically. But I need to make this a little bit quick because I am going to be leaving to go out of town here pretty soon. So it kind of came at a bad time, but I certainly wanted to make a video. Oh, and if you want to watch the trailer for yourself before I start pausing it several times, be sure to go into the description. I'll have a link to there. And then you could come back and we can hang out. First of all, an amazing shot of a woolly mammoth kind of like trekking through what is probably a blizzard. Now, obviously, the CGI is absolutely amazing in this. I think that's something that we all expected going into this. Prehistoric Planet always had amazing CGI, and this just kind of like, this really sets the standard. Right here, these are like a pack of Homotherium. They are scimitar-toothed cats. They have like about 3-inch long fangs, similar to Smilodons, but Smilodons, of course, had longer ones. And they actually had like pouches on their lower jaw that would kind of like contain their really long fangs. So they did have lips covering their fangs, unlike Smilodon. And that is something that you can see in the design right here. I think we're gonna get some close-ups like later on, but that is something that I think was worth mentioning. I'll turn off the closed captioning too. And then, of course, I believe this is Megalonyx. Obviously, they released the clip of these fellas. They are ground sloths, and I do think that they're Jefferson's ground sloth. That being Megalonyx, I think that was confirmed eventually, and they look beautiful. Little fun fact, Sid the Sloth is actually probably a Megalonyx. They're big ground sloths, but they're not like as big as something like Megatherium, which is incredibly notable. Now, this is going to be a dwarf elephant. I can't remember the exact species. I believe it's Stegodon, which is a type of, it's a type of elephant that went through something that's known as insular dwarfism. I think this fella is supposed to be a baby, though, because I'm not too sure if they were quite this small, but they were small elephants, and it's so exciting that we're going to be seeing something like that. This is giant short-faced kangaroos. Get my ugly face out of your beautiful face. Look at them right here. One thing that I absolutely wanted here. One thing that I absolutely wanted from Prehistoric Planet was Pleistocene Australia. And that is obviously something that we're going to be getting. That's more so confirmed later with other shots too. Because Pleistocene Australia is just incredibly fascinating. It's a very fascinating time in Earth's history. And obviously, I think this is like this whole documentary will be taking place during the Pleistocene, because that's when the main, like the big ice age that we all think of, that's when that took place, is during the Pleistocene. And Pleistocene Australia had so many cool animals, and by the looks of it, we might be spending a lot of time there, because there's like a lot of shots that indicate we're gonna be looking at different things. And these guys look really cool. Like obviously the CGI looks amazing, and look at the little baby down there. Isn't that adorable? Right there, I don't know what this is. And actually, this kind of looks like it might be a real animal, but I'm not too sure which specific species it is. Now, oh, what are you? I didn't catch that the first time I watched it. I wonder what that is. If you guys have any idea what this is, then be sure to let me know. But I was initially stopping on this. I believe this is meant to be Glyptotherium. The first images that we got, they confirmed that it was like Glyptotherium. I think this is a young one right here. Giant armadillos, obviously. I think we're also getting a lot of like live action footage of creatures, which makes sense because the Pleistocene really wasn't that long ago, and there was a lot of animals that are alive today that existed during the Pleistocene. So you can now actually like use a lot of like live action footage, which is going to really help ground the project. Oh, did you see that? Look at that. I love the blues and the reds and the oranges, and just wow. That is so amazing. That is so cool. Little baby elephant, mammoth here, of course. The mammoths look pretty darn good. Maybe like well, no, they look really good. This is a beautiful shot overall as well. I've heard some sources state that mammoths actually had counter shading, and I can't tell if that's actually something that's happening here. Still look good in my mind. Coelodonta woolly rhinos. There's a huge group of them right here, which is really interesting. I don't know if we see like rhinos in too many large groups nowadays. I know that they're sometimes in groups, but I don't know about large groups.
Like never.
Look at how gorgeous that is. Look at the shape of the horn too. Obviously, like modern day rhinos, their horn would have been made out of keratin, similar to the stuff, like, well, not similar, it is the same stuff that makes up our fingernails. And it could grow, like, it could take so many different shapes. And it looks like they're really, like, it's not like a perfect shape. It kind of looks like it's a little bit like it kind of curves in like that and then kind of it looks good, basically. I love the way that it looks. Ooh, I think this is probably a better look at the Homotherium. Obviously, its large teeth right here are sheathed to help protect them, obviously. And they did have like this huge chin down here as well. We did find a Homotherium cub like last year, I believe. It was about 3 weeks old, and it showed that it had like extra fur on its chinny chin, which means that it probably did have like a pretty large kind of like evil cat in animated movies chin, you know. And I love these colors too, and I love like the kind of mane it has going up here. Look at that. Look at that. See, we're still getting dinosaurs in this documentary too. Birds are dinosaurs, so that always does count. That is so beautiful. I love the blue on this one right here. That is gorgeous, man. Yeah, look at that. And also like the added soft tissue right here is a nice touch. I like that.
Come face to face.
Okay, I don't know which sloth this is. This could be Erematherium or it could be Megatherium. But either way, it is glorious. Now, what's also really cool about it is that it does have like sparse hair. It's kind of like an elephant because Megatherium and Erematherium, they were about the size of a modern day elephant. And they lived in relatively warm environments. As we know, elephants, like African elephants, they live in warm environments. And so they have sparse hair so as, you know, so that they can't overheat, like they won't overheat. It's likely that giant ground sloths like Megatherium and Erematherium were the same way, and it looks like they've taken that route here, and that is so cool. It's weird seeing a giant sloth without fur, but it is possible. And again, I'm glad that they're taking that route, and I love ground sloths. I'm so glad that we're getting them with this quality of CGI. Ooh, I don't know the name of this fella, but isn't that cool? Isn't that just so cool? So cool. Ooh. Are you guys? No, you're not. I'm not too sure what you are, actually. Those teeth are definitely not Thylacaleo teeth. At least I don't, no, I don't think they are. Those are interesting. If you know what these are, be sure to let me know. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I believe this is a Smilodon. I think we'll be getting both species of Smilodon, or well, two, at the very least, two species of Smilodon here. I think we'll probably getting I think we'll probably be getting Populator and Fragilis in this documentary. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think. Ooh, what are they? Wait a minute, what are they? Why am I spacing? I feel like I've seen like images like this before. Are they the giant otters? No, are they? Wait. If it isn't like painfully obvious, I am getting better at understanding the Cenozoic, but I still have a lot to learn. What are they? They might be, well, they might be the giant otters, but did giant otters live with Smilodon? Is the question. Be sure to let me know down below. There we go. See, I had a feeling that this little fellow was a baby, and this is the like a larger, like an adult stegodon. Still, you know, a dwarf elephant, which is still so cool. Now here we are. These are not Glyptotheriums, I believe. They, I wonder which ones specifically they would be. Possibly Doedicurus? It's certainly possible. I like them though. Giant armadillos are always really fascinating. Look at that. That'll send you into next week if you're lucky. This is something I am so excited for. Look at my glorious Megaloceros jumping across this. I love Megaloceros. Megaloceros is a type of giant deer. It's sometimes called the Irish elk, which is not exactly the most accurate description of it because of course it's not an elk or moose, or you know, I know that some places call moose elk. But it's an animal that we have a decent idea of what coloration it had in life, and that's because of cave paintings. And that's actually represented right here with the striping right here that goes onto its hump and the lighter coloration on its head, darker coloration back here. And obviously it had these huge antlers, like about 11 feet in length from one end to the other. I'm so happy that it's in this documentary. I love Megaloceros. This is a big one. Australia, of course, we have Varanus priscus, old Megalania. Like I said, one of the things I wanted the most from this documentary was some time spent in Pleistocene Australia, and it looks like they are dedicating to that right here. I don't know what this little fella is right here, but man, the Megalania looks glorious. The same can be said for the Thylacoleo right here. This is sometimes called the marsupial lion, but it's not a lion. It's not even a cat, but it is a marsupial. It's a type of marsupial that lived in Pleistocene Australia, and it's like, as we see right here, it's likely that they would like hide in the trees and ambush their prey by jumping down on top of them, which is something again that will be represented here. Love the striping it has going on; it's glorious. Look at it, just falling. This is gonna be so cool. Oh, and then I've heard the name of this sloth before, but I can't remember its specific name. And it looks like they're being bombarded by some it's by some dinosaurs technically. Yeah. Oh, I believe this is our giant wombat. Not technically a wombat, but it is a marsupial. It's a giant marsupial as well. So cool. Oh, and then that's interesting. This is interesting. This will be an interesting. Get your face out of the way. This will be an interesting thing to see. It looks like a Homotherium going up against a mammoth, which probably wouldn't happen too frequently in life. At least I believe that's Homotherium. It looks like some of the images that we saw earlier. I'm pretty sure. Yes, it certainly looks like Homotherium. That's not to say it would never happen. I think sometimes lions will brave, some elephants today, but it's probably not a frequent event. So that'll be interesting to see. I wonder what the circumstances are that led to this. Okay, so that was initially going to be the end of the video, but thanks to Edge Science, I also found out that they released a ton of images of a lot of creatures that will be showing up in the documentary, a lot of which we didn't even see in the trailer. So now we're going to look at that. Can be found on the website right here. There's just a lot of images. Look at this. First of all, let me make my face smaller so that we can see it. First of all, elephant birds. Obviously, we saw the elephant birds in the trailer. I don't think I actually name dropped them, but yes, the ones with like the giant wattles right here, basically, those are the elephant birds. A lot of them, even some baby ones, which is cool. Anasion, which is the dire wolf. Obviously, the dire wolf has kind of like gained a lot of popularity in recent memory because of colossal biosciences and things like that. It's weird that it doesn't look like the Game of Thrones dire wolf. Anyway, this is so cool though. Look at that quality of that. That's going to be something that's so cool to see on screen. Here we also have a Mammuthus columbi, otherwise known as the Columbian mammoth. Looks like stepping into tar, and so we will be seeing some tar shenanigans, which is pretty sad. I wonder if this will be L.A., which means that I wonder if this will be La Brea. The tar pits located in Los Angeles. Amazing look of the Columbian mammoth. Like that looks so beautiful. Another look at the scimitar-toothed cats, otherwise known as Homotherium. Well, officially known as Homotherium. You can see a little bit more of those scimitar teeth and how long they are compared to the rest of their teeth. We already saw this image, and that was the last thing we talked about. And of course, we already saw this image too. That's not all. There's way more images on top of that. Now, we've seen this before. I think I've talked about this before. I like all the different shades that you can see of the different mammoths. We do know that they came in a vast array of different colors. That's also really cool. Haven't seen that one yet. Doedicurus. I was correct. This is Doedicurus. They're going up against each other with their giant weapons of death back here. That is so cool. I think we do actually have evidence of them doing that in life. And then there's one kind of like standing up on its hind limbs. It's so beautiful. It looks so good. This is one. This Gigantopithecus. In the many interpretations of Gigantopithecus, I noticed that there wasn't really a lot of good Gigantopithecus depictions out there. And it looks like we're finally getting another one. It looks like it has like a slight orange coloration similar to modern day orangutans. And it looks like, from what I can tell, the way that's kind of like laying down, it might be mostly quadrupedal, which is way more accurate. I am so hyped to see this. The largest ever primate and relative to modern apes. It looks so amazing. And I love how it's just kind of like sitting there, like eating its stick right there. Very similar to many modern day primates. A lot of them you'll see them do stuff like that. So we're going to get like a really nice naturalistic depiction. This is another thing. Elasmotherium. With a beautiful design too. They opted for more of like the boss portrayal rather than a large horn. it even says right here, depicted with a bony boss on its head to reflect recent understandings of its appearance. Yeah, so that is mostly the consensus nowadays is that they would have something like this instead of a huge horn that you saw in something like Prehistoric Planet. This looks beautiful though, and also look at the environment it's in. What's cool is that you could probably easily recreate this environment in Prehistoric Kingdom if you wanted to. They just call it saber-toothed tiger right here. We don't know which specific one it is. It's one of the Smilodons. I don't know which one. Obviously, tiger. They're not tigers, but yeah, I'm not gonna get caught up on that. There's way more images than that. Just you wait. There's way way more images than that. Here's a better look at Megalania right here. Megalania, the biggest venomous land-dwelling lizard to ever live. Look at that. That is so cool. I like how it seems to take some influence from modern day Komodo dragons, but it seems a little bit different in terms of coloration. Now, obviously, they are very closely related to Komodo dragons, so it's not a bad idea to give them that same coloration. But this looks amazing. The Diornis right here, otherwise known as the giant moa. I also don't think I name dropped them when we were looking at the trailer, but yes, the giant moa right here. They just look beautiful. Obviously, I loved their shot in the thing. We've also seen this image before. I think it was leaked. This is Leo. I already gushed about them. They look amazing. And then, of course, Diprotodon, the giant wombat relative, the rhino-sized relatives of wombats, and the largest marsupials to ever exist. Such a good design right here. This will be in desert lands as well. Oh, I didn't even realize they were separated by category. That's cool. And then Procoptodon, we saw that shot in the trailer. What are you called? Rock climbing sloths. You're not going to give me the name of it? No. Yeah, okay. So these all are going to be in the desert lands episode. All the ones we saw up here will be in the grasslands episode. The Gigantopithecus is going to be in the grasslands episode. I wonder if we're going to see because Gigantopithecus likely went extinct because its jungle environments were overtaken by grasslands. That's interesting. I wonder what to make of that. This is going to be the big milk. The big milk, wow, the big melt, which is going to be the season finale. That's interesting. New lands, right? So they're backwards, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's fine. New lands, which will be episode 2. We're going to be seeing a Smilodon. If I were to wager a guess, this would probably be Smilodon Populator. If I were to wager a guess, New lands kind of makes it sound like this might be like the Great American Interchange, which is when a land bridge kind of like formed in between North America and South America, and the different types of faunas kind of like exchanged, so to speak. And this is bulky. It's incredibly bulky. So, and Populator is certainly like the largest species that we know of. Smilodon, a saber-toothed cat. Yeah. I've already guessed that'd be Populator. Glyptotherium right here. We saw those fellas in the trailer. Erematherium. Okay, it's not Megatherium. This is Erematherium. Again, it looks beautiful. A squirrel. Just a squirrel. Squirrel featured in Prehistoric Planet Ice Age. Oh, and then we have a forest rockid. It just says forest rockid, so we don't know which specific species this is. But forest rockids, that family is commonly known as the terror birds. So we will be getting terror birds in this too. And then the stegodon, yes, that's what I thought. It's the tiny elephant relative in Prehistoric Planet Ice Age. And then Arctotherium. Look at that thing. That is insane. The biggest bear to ever live. That is just so insane. And yeah, Glyptotherium again. And then back to the Smilodon. And then in the first episode, the big freeze, we're going to be seeing like the height of everything, I suppose. So we got, the Coelodontas right here. We saw that image before. There's Jefferson's ground sloths, Megalonyx. Yep. So that's technically Sid the Sloth. And then we have Manny the Mammoth right here. Woolly Mammoths. A beautiful shot of Megatheria. Looking at a cave. Now, I wonder if we're going to see humans in this. That's something I am genuinely curious about. There was no humans in the trailer, but there's like a few different species that they could potentially showcase in this, and I'm curious if they would actually do that. Look at that! I love that shot. Then the Coelodonta, they're going up against the scimitar-toothed cats, otherwise known as Homotherium. Very nice. There's another beautiful shot of a Homotherium. This is just, and here, this is interesting. The saber-toothed cat highlighting the recent discovery of double sabers. Yeah, you can actually, if you look very closely, in fact, let me kind of like zoom in for you guys. If you look very, very closely, I could just do this while editing. I don't know why I'm doing it right now. If you look very closely right there, you'll see double rows of fangs. It was a recent discovery that it seems likely that Smilodon actually had training fangs while they were growing up. Basically, they had double pairs of fangs for a little while. Like their baby fangs, they wouldn't fall out quite yet as their adult fangs started to come in, and that kind of like help guide and reinforce their adult fangs before the baby fangs eventually fell out. So there was a point in time where they would have like four fangs like right next to each other as they were maturing. And it's cool that they're showcasing it here. Like, I like that. That's so cool. Like, this is easily the project that I am most anticipating in terms of prehistoric projects because it's just going to be flat out amazing. Beautiful CGI, a lot of amazing animals that don't really get the spotlight too frequently, and more focus on extinct mammals, which of course are just as amazing as things like dinosaurs. So I'm very excited for this project. Be sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But that's pretty much all I have for this one. Thank you so much for watching and have an awesome day.